do want to thank the people that are here because, for one, you're so relevant. For two, you're the only people that are here. For three, this is a pivotal point in time that we're in right now. No matter how lightly people take the times that we're in, like we're in a great time. And when this time is looked back on historically, people going to have a whole different insight on it. And they're going to reassess the position that they played in the times of what's going on right now. Some people taking it lightly. They think, I'm just deciding what movement I want to be in or what ideology I want to take on or what I'm feeling the most. They don't understand what times they're in and how pertinent black supremacy is to create the rest of the time that this planet is going to be here. Black supremacy is pertinent to the future of this planet. It's going to be a key piece as things play along. So this is not just another movement, another group, some other ideologies. This is a pivotal point in the future of mankind. Black supremacy is. So give yourselves a black hand for being here and being the reality of that. Not a movement, but being the reality of that. The reality of the times that we're living in today. Only people that are able to be here are prophets. If you're not a prophet, you can't be here. You got to be a prophet and have deep insight into what's about to happen. And you be ready to prophesize. So I used to say that as black supremacy, we need ministers, but we need prophets. Because black supremacy is a self-fulfilling prophecy for black people. It's the only prophecy that we ever had that we're going to self-fulfill. So not only we need prophets and prophetesses. This is the only place that it's for. That means you got to be so absolutely clear. You can't be a student or a follower. You got to be a prophet to be here. That's a lot of responsibility. Because a student is learning and I don't have it yet and I might not have it fully and I'm trying to get it. But a prophet is one who is speaking the truth of it into existence. Meaning you have a complete, firm grasp on what it is. And now you're prophesizing how it is going to manifest in the lives of other people and how it's going to manifest in this planet. That means your words have authority. The words of a prophet are the words of those who have authority in the things that they speak on. They're not just guessing, pontificating, and intellectualizing. They're absolutely 100% clear. So we need prophets. More prophets in black supremacy. They're the only ones can stand in it because they see it clear. If you have questions about it, you can't be no prophet. Because you can't stand in it totally on what it is to be and what it is to manifest into. So everyone that's able to plant their feet in this is a prophet or a prophetess in black supremacy. That's powerful. If you're not that, you're too late. It's going to take too much time to get it. But if you're already there, then you've prophesied it. You've already saw this coming in effect. And you saw how this was going to play in your life and the divine role that this was going to have in your life. You're absolutely clear. It's not just another social studies, religious study, you know what I'm saying, voyagerism. You absolutely clear on who you are and the role that this is going to play in your life and how important and significant this is. That's a prophet. And in the lives of others of whom you come in contact with. So you always prophesize in black supremacy to them and with them when you come in contact with them. That's powerful. I want to start this off with meditation, black supremacy as the supreme position. The supreme position in consciousness. There are a lot of positions that we can take on that all fall short of the glory of black supremacy. It's a lot of ideologies. It's a lot of things that we can stand for. There are a lot of stances that we can take with what's going on in the world on a lot of issues. And we can create an identity out of many of those stances. But why black supremacy? Well, I'm here to say that black supremacy is the supreme stance of all stances. All of them fall short and lose their value as they relate to what black supremacy is. I want to give you an example. For one, you cannot be a homosexual and a black supremacist. It's impossible. You can't be them both. Now, what do I mean by that? You cannot, when we think of homosexuality, because some people are going to take this as a diss on their sexuality or their sexual preferences. And that's not what this is. This is not a diss on someone's sexual life. This is understanding the politics and the consciousness that goes around every decision that someone makes. Now, a homosexuality is not just an act. It is a political consciousness. Do y'all follow what I'm saying? It is a social group that has an agenda. They have an agenda based upon identifying themselves with that group. All of us, with all the different choices and decisions that we make, with every choice and decision we make, we can identify with a group. Why does any identification become the predominant identity of an individual? Okay, I drink tea. I'm with the tea party. I'm with the tea group. I'm a vegetarian. I'm with the vegetarian group. I'm a vegan. I'm with the vegan group, right? I'm a revolutionary. I'm with the revolutionary group. I'm a black man. I'm with the black man's group. I'm a black woman. I'm with the black woman's group. I'm a woman. I'm with the woman's group. How does any of these group consciousnesses become the predominant identity of any individual, and why? So when they are identifying themselves by these different things, they are taking on a political position. You cannot worship two masters. You can only what? Love one and hate the other. And if you occupy several positions at the same time, then each one of your positions become weak. Now, this is not a governance on somebody's lifestyle. I'm talking about the political aspects of the group that you associate with. And what is more relevant? What's the most relevant stream of consciousness that one should be situated in? Black supremacy. I'm going to tell you why. These other groups and group minds are not for black people. They were made up after us. All of them. All the groups. Vegan, feminists, homosexual. All these group consciousnesses were created within the last, I would say, 100 years. All these group consciousnesses are specific to the modern world that we live in today. Black supremacy is an ancient consciousness that existed even before tribalism, even before the tribalistic identities. Those were later. Those came later. The skin that we're in, that we were born in on this planet, was the first identity that we wore. The melanin was the first identity that we had. The first one. All these other groups are Eurocentric mindsets and mind frames. And we got them in relationship to associating with white supremacy. Now, the behaviors have been going on since the beginning of time. Man has done everything man has done since the beginning of time. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new that man can do that he has not done before. All acts, from drinking tea to homosexuality to lesbianism, these things go all the way back, even to Egypt. But it did not become a conscious social group to win. These did not become social groups by way in which we identify ourselves. You go to some person, you ask them, "Are you a nationalist?" "Well, I'm not a racist. I don't believe in racism. But I'm a homosexual." Wait a minute, is that sexism? Why? How did they decide? How are they deciding what group that is going to be their predominant identity? How do they decide this? Because you got a group of people called homosexuals as a political consciousness. I'm not talking about as an act. But they only have sex about an hour out the day. And they black for what? 23 other ones. So how did that become their predominant identity? Do you follow what I'm saying? It's impossible. Sexuality is not the predominant identity of anybody on this earth. We spend the rest of our day, more of our day, doing other things, in other social settings, in other social situations, in other ways that are pertinent to our survival, right? That are beyond our sexual experiences. Am I correct? So to identify ourselves based upon sexuality is the weakest form of identification that we can have. That's a reality. We weren't brought over here on no boats because of our sexuality. We were brought over here because of the totality of what we make up as genetically superior entities to work in white supremacy. Am I correct? And we, all of us, man and woman, were brought because the man and woman both worked on what? The white man's plantation. Both of us were working hard to keep master's plantation going. That's a reality. So that box will not liberate us. Because that is not why we were brought over. Am I correct? So how can there be a liberation based upon an idea that your slavery was not based on? So we can throw away the liberation movement as far as the feminist liberation and the sexual liberation, right? Because you were not enslaved sexually. You were enslaved racially. Am I right? Because they could have just enslaved all the women. If it was a women's enslavement thing, correct? They could have just came and got women from Africa. They could have just went and got women from Europe, right? Women from anywhere is women's enslavement, correct? And if it was just man's enslavement, they could have got men from anywhere. White man, any type of man. They didn't have to just go to Africa. They needed a particular type of man and a particular type of woman. A black man and a black woman. So there's no liberation in these smaller compartments of what our social identity is. Do y'all hear me? You cannot be liberated in these areas because you were not enslaved because of these areas. You may have been suppressed in these areas. But suppressed and enslaved are two different things. But once you go beyond slavery, suppression drops anyway. Am I right? You ain't got to fight suppression if you actually attain true freedom. And you're not enslaved because of what is suppressed. You're suppressed as a byproduct of slavery. So if you get rid of the slavery, the suppression goes away, right? And the slavery is not based on what is being suppressed. Because other people can relate to the suppression and the oppression. But the reason that you're being enslaved is because of your nationality, your race, your phenotype, your genotype. We were perfect for the plantation. Perfect workers. The perfect worker class. Physically capable of building. Do you follow what I'm saying? His empire, his infrastructure. We were the horses, the cattle, the stock. By a genotype. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not because of our sexuality. Because of our race and our nationality. So any of these subcategories that we take on do not encompass the real struggles that we face. Now, black supremacy does not dictate sexuality. That's what Christianity and religion does. Black supremacy doesn't do that. Its goal is to make you become a black supreme being and become conscious of your people, your nation, your kingdom. That's the purpose of it. It's not like a religious movement of Christianity or Islam. Those are different movements. Those are different ideas. So they try to dictate what sexuality is. And they find themselves in all of these different types of argument that are based on arguments dealing with religious salvation.